an ad break just ended, so we're here. We're queer. And we're rocking it. How y'all doing? Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I was paranoid checking that my alarm was set for tomorrow. I'm gonna check it one more time. Just to make sure it's set for tomorrow, okay? I literally said it like 10 minutes ago, but that's enough time for my brain to be like, did you actually do it? Because your girl can't wake up late tomorrow. We got places to go and Hershey Parks to see. Anyway, how y'all doing? Hope you're having a good Friday. I am no longer ill, or at least mostly no longer ill. I am on the mend. I think it was just a cold and not a sinus infection. Thank goodness. Thank golly goodness. I'm still be blowing my nose a little bit, but I just blow my nose all the time on a good day, so that's just my reality. But yeah, I hope y'all had a good week. Happy end of July. Happy almost August. Where the fuck is the year going? It's so hot where I am. It is so hot, and it is very hot in this room that I'm in currently. It's 91 outside. Definitely probably feels like 103. Let's see. Oh my god. Can my phone just do the thing I'm telling it to do? Excessive heat warning. Feels like 101. I was close. Feels like a low-grade fever. That's actually a full-blown fever. Anyway. What have I been up to? Been reading Gone Girl, which has been an experience. I don't know if I liked it. I liked the writing. I did not like any of the characters. And I don't think you're supposed to like any of the characters. All the characters sucked. Go was okay, but the rest of the characters sucked. I think I liked it. I was like it was fine, you know? I mostly listened to the audiobook. I did half and half because I would put it on while I was cleaning and stuff. Because I just needed to read it and get it done for my schoolwork. So that's the last book I have to read for the summer class. Then I just have to finish my genre bingo, which will be fine. And then, yeah. Then I'll be done this class. Thank goodness. I'm ready. Then I get 2 or 3 weeks off before the fall semester classes start, which is great. I did not realize that. So if I can finish my genre bingo by the middle of next week, I get 2.5 weeks off. It would be great. That's my final, by the way. It's genre bingo. It just should be fine. I just gotta write a sentence per book. And there's 25 books. So 25 sentences. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. Excuse me. I'm not too worried about it. What's the word I'm looking for? What are the words I was trying to say? I've just lost my train of thought. I've been playing Pikmin 4. Been playing a lot of Pikmin 4. I'm almost done the game. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. This is my first Pikmin game. I've 100%ed 4 of the 5 areas, or 5 of the 6 areas. I don't remember how many areas there are. But I have 1 area left that I have 100%ed. But I have a feeling this game is gonna fuck with me in some way. I don't know, but I feel like it will. Yeah. Because it sounds like the other games do that, especially when Louis is involved. I've heard that man is a menace. Yes. Okay. Do I have anything else to ramble about? I'm sweating. Oh my god. Why is it so warm in this room? Should not be. My face is sweating. Need to make sure I wear my contact lenses tomorrow. Ugh. Going to visit Maya for the weekend. Lovely, lovely Maya. I just made crab rangoon dip to bring to her. I bought pretzel chips for dipping into said crab rangoon dip / any other dips that are present. And I've got wine. Ooh, I need to get my games. Oh god. Let me write that down on myself, because I will forget them. We'll see if that makes me remember them. I have a bad feeling it won't. Refocus on my face, please. There we go. Beautiful. All right. I guess we should hop into yield game. It's probably smart. I spent a really long time the other day, I think over the weekend, organizing my Steam library. So now all of my games are in little categories, and it makes my brain happy. What is on my glasses? There's always something. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Who texted me? Nobody I want to talk to. Sorry. The music is banging. Let me turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, because I just don't feel like having my Fitbit buzz at me 1,000 times. Let's continue. The Adventures of the Clouded Kokoro. Thought they said Korok for a second. Looks like a torture chair. What is this?
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to the story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
So we're being narrated.
The young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, hand to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
So we're being narrated to by the dead man from the first case. I wonder how that works. 19th February at 9:47 a.m. This date would probably be more significant to me if I remembered any of the previous dates. I don't remember what the last date was. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Burya, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Ugh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ugh, London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. I assume it's... Yes, scary man. Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of the events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The culpability of the defendant is not, at the present time, been established by this court. Which is, that's the way a normal court works. Unlike in the regular games, where if you don't find another person, they're like, well, you're guilty anyway. Consequently, the jury will not be required to pro-offer judgment. Well, okay, that's not how it works. But, Oh God, this man's voice. Well, Lord Van Dyke, it's been a pleasure, so it has. As for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. I don't remember what this man's voice... I mean, it was not anything, because I was not functioning. And I was not doing an Irish accent. I just can't help wondering Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. I'm sorry, what? No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? What the fuck? I'm sorry, what? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. My dog is outside losing her mind. I can hear her. I bet my mom is watering the plants. She has a vendetta against the garden hose, and I don't know what it is, but she just barks incessantly at it. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Oh, I'm sweating. My shirt's sticking my back. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? And he was the one inside? That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. How could that have happened? It is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're gonna examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. At least I never have to do his voice again besides in flashbacks. Maybe. Unless he's not actually dead. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. You know, how actual law enforcement and the court works. Sorry. Poor Mr. McGilded. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was, wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? Simple? That was simple? Read in my mind, Susato. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I've prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he gonna say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? Susato does it all the time. That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Ha! So the trial's tomorrow, then. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, if the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. If that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Ugh, here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 29 seconds until the court sits. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, you said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Osigi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Osigi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. That's because you weren't his boyfriend. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Taking the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been here? There. So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. He's holding a bag of French fries. Why is he holding just like a container of French fries? chips. French fries. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Okay. Oh, I can only examine? I can... Okay. Oh, fish and chips. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hands, you know. This is such an English gent accent. But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. Gregson. In elementary, they use Gregson as the police detective. All because some bumpkin hears on a jaunt from a country I never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't know what voices I'm doing, but we're here. I don't believe you've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Yeah? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue. Eh? It's a lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It's unseasonably fine, I grant you. London's winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did you pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart asked me to fill you in on the case. Name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot. Is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own word. The pick of a bad... I don't... That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. Daddy is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit it, to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. That's better. Well, that's wonderful. No, it's not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. This man's got anxiety. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. Fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective would be could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. Did he just put his fish and chips in his pocket? He did. As far as we're concerned at the yard, couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along in the pavement at Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack a poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a suicidal takedown, wouldn't you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryanosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way you can help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak Van Zieks. No. Sounds like you heard of him then. Oh yes, we're very familiar with Lord Van Zieks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Barak Van Zieks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGill told us about him before the trial, didn't he? Oh no. Oh, okay. When Van Zieks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused as sacrificial lambs. Do you remember when he put his foot on the desk? I do. In every single trial in which he has been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zieks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a victory of not guilty verdict. Ha, and what of it? Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGildis became a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightfully say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zieks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? Okay, you gonna give us, like, the actual details of the case? Evidence? Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as, shaking like a leaf in a cell he is. I'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. It'll give you. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer, he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in a cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. You help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. I don't know why we did not ask the Lord Strongheart, where to stay. Look at that bent bike. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! Is it... Oh. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. I thought Herlock was going to show up. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, but I never dreamt I'd come this close. Oh my god. To a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your hatty dreams come true. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Shall we see if we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing? Why should we sneak? I don't want to upset one of the bobbies and be butted on the head by one of those metal helmets. My skull would crack in two, I'm sure. Oh no, an English bobby would never do such a thing. This is a land of gentlemen, you know. Whatever you say, my darling. Another snowman. Second game in a row. Snowman. What a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. Looks a little creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf. Look. You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know. You're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Okay. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage! They use vehicles like this to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's been a dream of mine to ride in one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows, then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride in it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, 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 I wasn't serious. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it? That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker would have been hiding. Oi, what are you foreigners doing here? Ah! Oh, just investigating the scene, officer. Conspiring with that mustache fella from Japan, are you? Conspiring? Come here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you an Iden. Go on. He shoot us away like rats. Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think. What a disappointing experience. That wasn't. No. Okay. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yeah, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. It's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks like it's decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodging ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. Seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. I'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. Seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. Seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo. And dressed in all black. I worried Coachman might not see you and you could be flattened by horses. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Okay, I feel like the clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? With the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. Looks like it's still being built, though. Aha! Yes, that must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I still can't begin to imagine it. Okay. Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there? It says here that in Great Britain, many people heat their homes in winter using coal. The only chimneys I remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouses. Do you think some of the houses could be on fire? Not at all. Well, even so. That much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later. Gosh, you may be right about that. Okay. Think I checked everything. Oh. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I've found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what's going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Ugh. Oh, sweet Ryunosuke. Alright. Let's go to the prison. I was hoping to get something concrete at the crime scene, but it's fine. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. Feels like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat, as yet with no name? Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. He sounds kind of crazy. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on in here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh. I should have... Oh, hello, sir. I don't like his eyes. Sure, quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So could I ask you who exactly... There you are. You come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide. You're a ghost. A ghost? This man is tripping. We mean you no harm, prisoner San. Are you Japanese by any chance? Oh. This is beyond my wildest dreams. This man is something else. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it. I've been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. Oh my lord. Does this man have slices of ham in his pocket? Like his little handkerchief look like pieces of ham. So who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? What compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can, I will. shan't stay sullen and silent. My man has got like a case of the wiggle butt. Just can't stand still. I'm not sure what I understand I'm not sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government, notably notoriously named Natsume, Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki. Please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. I thought he looks like Edgar Allan Poe. And I had that in the back of my head, but I was not verbalizing it. I mean, not that Poe was like a haiku poet, but he looks like Poe. Anyway. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku, that reminds me of home. Did I hear you say you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But, just because the government tells you to do something, doesn't mean you can do it. No? Does it mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? They told me to study English literature. That I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewashy. You must be a man of great standing. Oh, yes. So I'm often told. I often like to be told, it seems. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. Seems like ham. I clicked away again. Sorry. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear, and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just when I went to overtake her, She suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. A slight exaggeration there, perhaps? I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you know anything? Do you think I know anything of these fair-haired English, and a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? Conundrum. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Well then, he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh, yeah, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Oh, Herlock. For all the bad luck. A cursed great detective? Could it be? Shall never forget the man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed busybody, begone. There he is. May you be cursed at the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes. I knew it. This motherfucker. Mr. Sholmes? Herlock Sholmes. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. This is the police, put the weapon down. Yes, it was a thin sliver. Yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. There he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herlock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really well known. His overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign film flamery. There's the ham in his pockets. You can see it. It's slices of ham. Anyway. Ugh, just crack my back for a second. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. But my mind went blank. I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. Next thing I knew, I was in manacles. Before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. You're telling me he's been here for a year and hasn't studied any English like he was supposed to? Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple mister is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes, it really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. The love of my life. My one and only. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh? Who do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Sasaki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. Just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before. My earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Sasaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Okay. Let's go back to Briar Road. See if fucking Herlock is around. Oh, it's you. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on the tourist trail. I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then. What'd you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh, the stone-cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air. That makes it worse, somehow. Alright. Okay, hold on. Will they let me? Nope, wrong thing again. Herlock hiding in the bushes somewhere. Patch of pavement must be where it occurred. Find open space. Okay, it's just the same bullshit. Alright, I thought maybe... Alright, let's chat. Tell us about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part. Seeing that policeman there with his helmet on, you certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell ya. Oh really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rousing all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yup, raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. I had no idea. I didn't know this. The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's a regulation distance. Can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh my. I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to evade the law. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More of alongside. But yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit. I always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. Happened around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago, just here on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned she's being treated in hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, won't be able to find out much about her at all. I suppose that means I haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's yard policy to give lawyers, defendants, suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the street other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we could be sure that nobody else was present. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. It what? We have two very reliable witnesses, no less. Ah! It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see him. There were witnesses now? Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked? Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a Bobby. Catching him banging the act and all. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Oh. I've no doubt he'd be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to. That's that, then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our jobs very difficult indeed. Yes, a non-judicial assistant could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for? Was this something I said? The color is drained from his cheeks. Okay. Now let's talk about Mr. Sholmes. Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions. Fiddle faddle. The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh? I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Dibble gabble. Ever seen this before? Oh, yes, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears. Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all. Well, I suppose there is an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals. That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Oh, I got a bug bite on my ankle. 1 second. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. You gonna defend him or not? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer with assault would touch that case with the barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save that man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something of that effect. And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's right, he handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume won't hang for what he's accused of, surely. That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but he didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective. Oh, and I got one on my other foot. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh, yes, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly. Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea the man's address, even. It's Baker Street. How do you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing stopping us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage. So we're having a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Okay, I'm going to pause for 1 second, because these bug bites are really bugging me, so I'm going to go put some stuff on them. I'll be back in a minute. I've returned. Alright, let's go find... A new location has been added. Sholmes' Suite. Look at the little... Oh, he's so cute. Look at us in a carriage.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
I love all these little animations. I know I say that every time one of them plays, but... So this is where the great detective makes his living. Feels surreal to be here somehow. Oh. It is as described. Is it as described in the story, Miss Susato? Susato-san? Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. She's obsessed. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home at present, but we're inside his home? Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Oh, hello you.
Hello. Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes?
Hello. Wait. Aren't you?
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Miss Susato, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary?
To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bavaria? Mr. Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea's brewed. I have a freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you.
I knew it. Susato-san recognized her too.
There you are. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
Look at her little bunny. Look at her little keychains. And there's Herlock and there's her.
So cute.
Anyway, it's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilda's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
I never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here. You have another tickless trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance?
Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see.
Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? Perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite?
Oh, silly me, I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Is Iris supposed to be like Irene? I don't know. That would be weird.
I live here together with Hurley.
Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? This is Watson. Not the old man who died. This is Watson.
Yes, that's right. What are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you.
Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it.
Susie and Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Alright, let's have a chat. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey?
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though, at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this?
Thinking back now, you left Miss Lestronington, didn't you? Excuse me. Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back.
Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommates? And they were roommates. I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
10 at last this year.
Oh yeah, she's young. Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Okay, I'm glad that this voice I'm doing for her is relatively appropriate. I was afraid she was going to be like an adult woman and I'm doing a sort of baby voice, because this is like Pearl's voice. Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there.
yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, of course. Go ahead, Susie. I am a very great fan of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and... Oh, you have a copy of Rance magazine. Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness! Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steam strip, traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came in. So you were the author? Yes. I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call the latest adventure The Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course, I know that a snake might not be the credible fit for the facts of this case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you?
So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rance magazine
all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. Suzette-san's getting more and more worked up.
Yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true, too. I'm a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible. But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman.
Yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling.
Oh.
Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
I suppose it does, yes. Poor Suzato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. About before.
Yes, what's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that?
Oh, well, that's what you mean.
Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Look at her eyes behind the glasses.
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. Walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you, earlier today?
Ah.
They used those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see.
I didn't realize.
And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you'd had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, that two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see. But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow?
Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume.
Now, Bruno has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley's always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene.
A short, shifty-looking stooped man. Mr. Natsume beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else in the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all. Excuse me.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man shivering in fear.
Ugh, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, the man's incident occurred only 2 days ago. That means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly.
Hurley says that the London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently.
Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire.
That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned to the first suspicious person.
That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the working of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh, well, I expect Hurley's still investigating the scene.
of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. May? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where these lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Oh, goody, in that case. Give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Iris's postcard has been entered into the court record.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem."
Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try. Like a bribe? What the hell?
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon.
I'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Alright.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in my hand. Oh, that's the end of part 1. I think this is the case that has like 6 parts. Something insane like that. Alright, cool. Would love to save my progress, yes. Looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect! I thought it said perfecto for a second. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Sorry to say I don't. I'm a busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship?
Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. It's for me.
Don't wait for me to give it to you, will ya? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... That's right, for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me, every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector, that must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously, it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustached Japanese fellow? He lives on a right old hovel, just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house in the corner where that wrecked bicycle propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Gariteb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear?
I mean it, you tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Miss Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Okay. She like the princess or something? Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Okay. Inside the decrepit old building. Oh, hello. May I help you? Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. Oh. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb. Okay, bye. What an interesting room. Did you see that, Mr. Susato? Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone in standing in England, English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way. Oh, hello. I want to look at this fucking room. The, apron on the cannon? That's a full-size cannon. What's it doing here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That old thing buys little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what in this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Your face looks like the moon. Do you think there may be any trouble brewing, Mr. Garadeb? Garadeb's probably like Garrison. Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Ahem, ahem. Maybe let's not, Mr. Sato. Or maybe let's not, Mr. Sato. I think the maid's gonna head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem, ahem. Oh boy. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful?
Although the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces. It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do the chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
Yes, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here.
Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? It looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garadev's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea.
That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally, it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. How magnanimous of you. Alright, let's just chat. Or not. Good day to you, Don Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Meiwan, don't you know? I took an arrow to the knee. Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
It's a hell of a job getting up and down the stairs now, I tell you. Don't get out as much as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so?
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's not just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I begrudgingly display it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Don't fetch the... Dash it all, woman, be careful!
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir.
I can't figure out her voice. I've lost it.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only two, please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blightly. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, I'm sure you're aware. This case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. This old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rance magazine here, so...
No.
Anyway, the chap's investigating the fort in his room as we speak. So he is in Saseki's room.
It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all the fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
About Mr. Natsume, then, Mr. Garrideb. Please, do tell us.
Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently, then?
I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor, one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you said. Dash it all, Joan, do be careful.
My goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Okay.
If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh, why?
He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking, looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Is there anything else that struck you suspicious about the man at all?
Yes, oh yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off that old bookshop every day and comes back with 5 to light the gas fire. And the funniest little man is up long past time, and everyone in the house has gone to bed, too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night, but I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh,
I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
that's right, yes. They're both below us on the first floor and street level.
Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed.
Good grief, Joan, be more careful, woman. Goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. Seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window at around that time?
The window?
Yes, we noticed the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garadeb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk already outside at the hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well...
Yes, was there something then?
Well, there's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time here, there...
Lady,
for the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing.
Dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir.
If I may, Miss Narrow Hollow.
Oh, yes?
An exceedingly good memory, as far as I remember. Nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garadeb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of...
This woman.
Don't dash it all. What is the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garadeb. What is the matter with these two? Sounds like something happened here in this room on the regarding the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak?
Yes, told me Nat's his name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume had engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around in Mr. Natsume's room, I mean?
Don't see why not. Just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we could speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Okay.
see what strange location we find Sholmes standing on or hanging off of. Oh, it's a kitty cat. 19th February, Mr. Natsume's room. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. She looks so concerned and scared. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garadev told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Yeah, this is... Oh, look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan, did he? I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daraduma doll that you brought in your luggage? Daruma doll? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. He's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. This is my destiny. Is this. They're all works of English literature. And they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'll never be short of reading materials, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile will ever be read again. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, such as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall here. Looks very robust. I wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here, too. I believe that it's a gas meter, Mr. Naruhodo. A gas meter? Yes, it seems there's piped gas in this district, which customers pay for by putting coins in the meter. So if we were to put a coin in the slot, that would be enough gas to use the lights and the gas fire for the whole night. So if you're too poor to have a coin, you'd have to spend the night in the dark and freezing cold? That's right. As would a rich man who only carried crisp white notes. Ugh, London is a scary place. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. There are notes scrawled all over them, in English. Looks like the waste paper basket is so full they've just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up his mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by those towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a secondhand bookshop. Your books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, and the date of purchase? 2 days ago, 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Okay. Oh, big stretch. Where'd he go?
Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolored Mickey, wasn't it? Do they even have this sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That's making me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been here in the country for 2 days.
Yeah, but you've been gone from your country for like a month and a half. I think that's ample time to be homesick. Yeah, because I didn't click on anything. Oh, there he is. The fuck? Hey, you.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh. Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Burya for a whole month.
Yes, of course, the Burya. Let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Osaki. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Osaki. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least.
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Sholmes. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain addict. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. Ah ha 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 ha. I lose the first round. What a dork. And an idiot. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London, but some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvement a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain addict has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should only be too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Let's chat, my man. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was his name, rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What?
I can't believe he was looking at Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you I'm not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stupid compatriot of the crime. That doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request to me and I quote verbatim, "We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene." A man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from where they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. You don't think Mr. Natsumi is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliography. Bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great British Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken a social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, there, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary! As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I have no idea. It is for precisely that reason I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs, specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. The dingy room? Hi, Maya! How you doing? This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. Woo! I'm very excited. I made the dip. It's in the fridge. I made the dip. I haven't baked the dip, but the dip is assembled. It just needs to go in the oven. And I bought a bottle of wine. I don't know if it's that kind of party, but I bought a bottle of wine. And I gotta remember to pack the games. You gotta clean. I understand that. I spent like all week cleaning. So my room was becoming unlivable. I have written on my hand to remember to bring the games because I realized I did not put them on my list. Making vodka cranberry lemonade. Cool. Then the wine will fit right in. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsumi has stabbed no one. But sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Got my air mattress set up. Hell yeah. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see you. I got my ticket printed out. It's in my backpack. I got a water bottle. I got sunscreen. I'm gonna have to make sure I bring my raincoat because it's supposed to be nasty tomorrow. Got a hat. I'm gonna wear my sandals that I bought for Disney to like break them in. I'm ready. I'm excited. We're gonna have a blast. I haven't been to Hershey Park in so long. Been a chill month for you. Yes. Ready for activities. It's been a relatively chill month for me too. I've just been dog sitting a lot this month, which has taken up my weekends. So I'm excited to do something that's not dog sitting. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely not a tax on windows. It just says cloudy tomorrow? Okay. My forecast was saying rain. Like, mine has, okay. Every time I check it, it pushes the rain back further and makes it less. So, you know, I don't trust the forecast until it's happening. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up, while the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with a large sum of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. For some 40 years... Oh, it's currently thundering and lightning in here. I saw a flash and I was confused. The window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It appears so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. It was storming pretty bad a few hours ago. It's moving through the state. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Minnie is probably having a very bad time. Hold on one second. She was at the top of the stairs. I'm just going to check on her really quick. Okay, I'm back. She was in fact having a bad time. Just brought her down with my mom. Yeah, we're definitely getting that pretty bad storm right now. Why did going up the stairs wind me? Apparently, Mr. Sume only moved here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Yeah, lots of lightning. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. My projection is so bad. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that was the wrong voice, whatever. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients, to trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Oh my god. There's a lot of lightning. Holy crap. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. Couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, there's the rain. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is. Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Okay. Let's go talk to this fucker again. Are you pair again? Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me... You ask for that. For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch your bally well doing? Shall be servicing dinner shortly, sir. Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Holy shit. I want to have both my headphones on, but then also I want to listen to this nasty storm. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourself. It's been a pleasure. It's weird hearing my voice at full volume. And not, like, muffled by my earbuds. Or headphones. Best of luck at that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. Did you? I mean, it was a loud one. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb is hiding something. It says no other avenue of investigation seems open to us at the moment. Perhaps we should do some digging. Oh, God, there he is. Hello, what you doing, my man? What's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes? Aha, we meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. That was a long one. Whatever you're doing over there by the window? I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye on one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. One other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he... I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo? I think so. If there's just enough time for one of my greatly admired great deductions, let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garadeb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerable distinguished service. Good Lord. It's smacking against the windows. I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observations of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the beast. certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. But a fearsome beast has been on a rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? Kitty cat from upstairs? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast is that the rampant, revealed by that lion statue. Run rampant here, okay. Yes, though an army man you appear imposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Oh, he's got a hand mark on the side of his face. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling trances of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadeb, as Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. Jesus Christ, this storm. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. If I'd suddenly cut out, my power's gone out. It shouldn't, because my power almost never goes out, but it did go out the other week, so I most certainly did not. I believe I made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion, and a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Nope, I don't think so, my man, but aftermath. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm, now as by the slap on your cheek. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? We need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is the pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Okay, for cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household, as you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What should have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eyes settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. My man, there's a candle on the floor. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an insatiable appetite. Or was it not once said by a certain noble woman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks on the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. My man, you are kind of an idiot. I love you so much, but you're kind of an idiot. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes. That's so hard to say in the British accent. Great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Herlock Sholmes. What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. Stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. It wouldn't be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms as common sense as well. Inside the realms of common sense. But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. What about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it is your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. Ryunosuke is no Z. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. I don't know what it is about Sholmes. I can't really say in a British accent. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. I'm not rereading everything he says. Fearsome beast, rampage in the four walls. Faced with a question, what form might it take? Uncommonly candid. Furtive glance, so this is the answer. A lion statue. Okay, here we go. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok in here. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Garadeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer.
Okay. Oh, I see. What's this photograph?
It appears to be from Mr. Garadeb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does, but you can't make out his bride.
No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face.
I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Newlywed bride, Mr. Garadeb. A beast rampaged? I mean, he looked... It's gotta be... I guess it's his bride?
Take that!
Okay, it is the bride. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by the newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yeah. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Garadeb. And whilst we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garadeb. The maid is his wife. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. No? Maybe his wife is the woman who got stabbed. I don't know. Whoa! Or it's the maid. Could be either one. Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam. Yeah, here's her. Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us handsome clues to the beast's whereabouts. No.
Poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garadeb anywhere.
It seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadeb's wife could be. Yes.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garadeb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garadeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadeb herself. Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is my wife, yes. My Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally corkerback. Yes, you deserve that. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. Tisk. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. Man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Jesus. Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here, this must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. The raging wife of Mr. Garrideb. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, at that blithe pose, your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain in that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. Mr. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak, Mrs. Garrideb. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true! So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Because he got slapped in the face. Oh my, look at that bright red mark! Gosh, that's quite something. Clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrideb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. Yeah, I meant to present that, not examine it, but... Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garrideb. Well, yes. You've been desperate to hide that slap mark on your cheek, sir. How the blazes did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us, even once. I don't like him looking directly at me. He's too pointy, to keep your other side from view. Well, Now let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subject to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And the first direction of the gaze, and the pile of bills. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Oh, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. No, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. There we go.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary's, the fly in the ointment here. Oh, she hit him again. As she deserves. But I don't know the bally woman. You don't know her? That note isn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got here. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I've been saying! Ah! A likely story. Now listen here, Joe Noble thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a book... Oh, the previous owner was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying. A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast of the most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath was clearly seen. Could have caused it. This time, wandering eye. Yeah, the cakes. But surely Miss Garrideb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray in this room is as a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So, this is the last part of Mr. Shulman's deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garrideb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can do. Yes! Carpet's been ripped to shreds. Yes, according to Mr. Shulman's deduction, the tears match made by an Indian lion's teeth. Look here. What is it? You look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh, yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind. Yeah, I would oh, okay. This one. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this illogical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was a scene of a little marital altercation. Miss Garrideb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of a strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, for the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. Look at these dorks. I love them! After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Look at these dorks! I love them so much. They're so funny. Goofy dummies. Wow, he's very tall. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! Oh, and down he goes. Oh! Look at these cuties. I love them. Such a good pose. These dashed long winter nights, you know, nothing would do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an opter. Here we go again. And the carpet was destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor. Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Quickly. While there's an ad playing. Dump the rest of this Pepsi in my cup. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Was caught between old Stick's rage and raging flames.
Big boy, you want a little boy?
A little boy. Thank you for the 24-month resub, Maya. Oh my gosh. 2 years. Happy 2 years. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, my friend. Oh. Crack my back again real quick. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started to go up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. How is this helpful in our case? I just thinking, how is any of this gonna help us get, what's his face, Natsume, off of his charges?
Over here, Mr. Garideb.
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Ooh. All my favorite old novels on that case. As soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There I was, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it all, I lost my favorite. Books called Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Oh yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. Till the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Can we stop referring to her as a beast, please?
Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again.
It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was a total carnage. Flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I remember. It was 2 days ago now, let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at the exact same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window in the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window in that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really?
Are these the two witnesses? No, it couldn't have been because it was cops. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garadeb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man had to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be relevant or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one and of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours of the prison will be over soon. Oh no, is it that time already?
We're to accept Mr. Natsume's case. We have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garadeb.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
So Seki-san would be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. Alright. I thought I was going to the prison.
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
Yes, I know. Let's hail a car. Oh.
What's the matter?
Looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garadeb's house. Who in God's name?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking nimmy-pimmy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy.
Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry. It just looked as though there might be some problem here. My associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law.
Tss. Fine, I'll be on me way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Who the fuck is this man?
Get thee to a nunnery.
Who is this man?
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
Who in the fuck? Listen, I gotta get to the prison.
I do hope you're not injured.
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you.
What was that all about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than there are dreamt in your philosophy.
I'm not Horatio either.
Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Garadeb residence?
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Garadeb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must have been the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be.
Sorry, battle, did you say?
Who is the stranger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night.
I see. The stronger? Did I say stronger or stranger? I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsumi and this gentleman are acquaintances at least.
So, fair maiden, so good gentlemen, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
Okay, I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san, that man as lodgers, the Garadeb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Hello, Mr. Sir. God, what was his voice again? I don't even know.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I think it was something like that.
I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched.
We're so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nipponese.
Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than a familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, it's you. 'Tis as though friendship transcending international borders is one truly appreciates the fact. It is through friendship. It is such as my belief, at least.
It's you. The miserable, rotten spy, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? Look at the ham in his pocket. I will not get over that. His little pocket square looks like a piece of ham. I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair. Hi, Cody! You arrived at the same time as Sholmes, except you have Arby's, and he only has ham. I think you win on that front. How you doing, friends? I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring.
Gloomful room.
At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is a superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight, and cost me not a penny.
Ah, you! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes!
Ugh. Oh, I'm not feeling well, so I'm taking care of her and accidentally fell asleep for a while. Aww. You two are adorable.
I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean? There is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Let's have a chat, why don't we? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow?
Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me, summarize this succinctly in 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly!
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, he burned to death in a carriage. The defendant passed away in unusual circumstances.
This man is so pathetic. I love him. Pathetic is a good word for him. He looks like Edgar Allan Poe. But like a sad Edgar Allan Poe. Anyway. Mr. McGilded.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you hear last week, Cody, for the end of stream, and you saw the carriage burning, but apparently McGilded was in the carriage when it burned. That's who was inside of it. This game is insane. He was also just very drunk. That's true. Yeah. This game is nuts. Who put him in there? This game burned a man to death. It's just wild. I'm impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail.
Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Von Zieks killed the man himself? This case is wild so far. We just, deduced out a couple's marital problems, and now we're trying to figure out if we're going to defend this Japanese man from a witch. A witch prosecutor. This is like the villain in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, but if he was actually magic, I guess. I don't know.
You sure he couldn't have, surely?
You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? They went from ambiguity about a lot of folks' fate in the first game to straight up killing people we would never expect. Yeah, exactly. The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me?
I think I accidentally gave her a British accent for a second. It could be said, however, that the real truth about that man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zieks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Oh, that's good.
Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. She's been in Britain for a while. She's been in Britain for, 2 days, Cody. It's been 2 days. This is literally the day after the last trial. They do have British accents in the little cutscenes, though, because they would have learned British English. Looks like it's tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, the public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail in the light.
But that means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly, is from time to time, my dear madam. That is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Oh my!
Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
By all means of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage, perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown, Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no, no, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm a dead dodo done for, doomed.
Alright, ham and cheese. When you said cursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garadeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long, then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to the room that on Briar Road a week ago now.
Yes, why did you choose there? Seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed. Oops." He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place."
Yes, well said.
But it was true. It was all just true.
You mean the room really is cursed, then?
Ever since I moved in that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all?
To believe? Yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes. Me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Burya. If you recall? The Burya. Ah, yes, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe in me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But how could I could have been lying? Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor that in which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? This is the definition of a himbo. I make up my own mind as to what to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. Ha 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 ha. In that case, I should have made an elementary error in judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust one another, trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself.
Yes, he's right. He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I can believe in myself.
Oh my god. Kazuma! Oh my god.
Defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. I was not expecting Kazuma to come up with the screen. That was shocking and startling. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there? Look at him like, hey, hello. Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in this trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, and trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that.
Oh God.
It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Usato.
Yes.
Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now, too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Saseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him. To fight his corner. Tomorrow in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. To be continued. Alright, let's check how long this next part is. Oh, there's only 2. Okay. This only has 4 parts. Oh, it's short? I'm scared. Trial begins. 1 testimony. 2 testimony. 3 testimony. That's it? Do I play another chapter? I would only do 1 more. I'm debating. It's quite short. Thank you for retweeting the stream, Cody. Yeah, I don't want to be up too late because I gotta be on the road by like 7:50 tomorrow. I'm wasting time. But I don't know. Yeah, that's probably best. We do have a long day tomorrow. We got through 2 parts, and then the next case after this is the one that's 6 parts. So it will be a lot. Come on. No, G. Stop! I'm pressing G! There we go. Exit game. Don't save. I don't want to save because, yes, I just saved. Yes, probably next stream will be longer. Go to my face screen. Yeah. The next case after this is 4 investigation parts and 4 trial parts. I mean, it's the finale of this game, so that'll probably take me like at least 3 weeks. Probably. And then it'll be time to start playing some horror games, which will be great. Be like basically the end of August by that point. And we will start horror months plural, starting in September. But yeah, Halloween, this is Halloween. Absolutely. I don't know why I said it like that, but I did. We're gonna do The Evil Within 2. We're gonna do it. Fucking ad break right when I'm ending. Stupid fucking. Okay. But that's gonna be it. I'm very ready for Spooky Month, but I'm also fucking. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fucking loving this game. As I say every single time I play it, it's a blast. A blast and a half, one might say. I love all the little animations and all the little cutscenes and fucking Herlock and Ryunosuke are dorks. And they do their little dancey twisty things during the deduction thing. Oh my god. This game is so good. I love this franchise. Anyway, that will be it. I'll stop dilly-dallying. But I love chatting. Again, next week should be regular streaming. Just checking my schedule. Yeah. Next weekend has become insane for me. I feel really bad because I don't think I'm going to make it to my friend's play. But I don't have this, like, next, I don't know. I have to see what I can make time for in my life. But, yeah, I'm really upset about it. I really wanted to go. But even before she sent us the things, I don't know, like, this is like the worst 2 weekends for me. Maybe I should have gone to her play this weekend instead of going to you, but also, I haven't seen your place yet. I don't know. Anyway, that'll be me to struggle with my own conscience. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. And go finish packing and go to bed. Go to her on Sunday. I don't know if I could do that. That would be a lot of driving for one day. Just show up and surprise her. I have a thing Sunday night too. Another D&D thing. So much D&D. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed now. I've said that 4 times already. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I love these games. I hope you guys all have an incredible rest of your Friday night and a fan-freaking-tabulous weekend. And I'll see you guys all next week, alright? Goodbye!